This video, we're going to talk about cardio and whether you actually need it to lose body fat, especially if you are skinny fat. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jodie and I help you change your beliefs so you can change your body, your health, and your life. This video is specifically for you if you are skinny fat, meaning you don't really have a lot of weight to lose, but you are not happy in your body because it feels soft, it doesn't feel tight and toned, and at the end of the day, you have too much body fat still. So a lot of you are still under the impression that you need to do cardio in order to lose body fat. And this is true for anyone actually, especially if you are coming from old school kind of fitness advice where you need to diet, you need to do as much cardio as possible, and that is how you are going to get your dream body. That is not the case. Weight training is the way to go, but cardio does have a role to play. The problem is, especially in those people that are coming from that background, chronic dieting, chronic undereating, over-exercising, doing the same thing, just a different version, isn't going to help you change. You need to provide a different stimulus to your body in order for it to change, right? So if you're someone that's always done just cardio and you want to add more cardio in, or you want to keep the cardio whilst you're weight training, but subconsciously you're kind of prioritizing the cardio and pushing really hard in that, and then that's impacting your performance in the weight training. If that's you in particular do not need cardio. And even if you're coming from a background where you just have done no exercise your entire life, that's pretty much where I started from. Cardio is not the first thing that you need to occupy your time with. Like, your time is limited. Most of you don't have enough time to even get proper weight training sessions in. So you need to make sure you are prioritizing those and focusing on those first. Once you get to a point where they are habit and you have made a lot of progress in these, then maybe you might add some cardio back in and your body will actually respond then, because it's going to be like a new stimulus because you're not used to it anymore. Now, there are so many considerations to make in terms of adding in cardio. One of the biggest things you need to be really mindful of is your recovery, because it's not just doing the weight training that's going to help you change. Yes, that's the stimulus for your muscles to grow if you're eating the right amount of food and protein. However, you still need recovery for that growth and change to happen. And it's the same with the fat loss side of things. Like, you need to create the right environment in your overall week in order to lose body fat. It's not just a matter of going to the gym and burning calories. If you are not managing your recovery and the stress load you're putting on your body, then you are going to burn out and you are going to go in the opposite direction to what you want to go in. And what you have to realize is a lot of you aren't eating enough food. You're coming from a place where you feel like you have to eat as little as possible, 1,200 calories in a calorie deficit in order to lose body fat, which, yes, it's true, but you don't actually need to aim for a calorie deficit to lose body fat. I've said this in previous videos, I think. But you can eat at maintenance and end up in a calorie deficit through your training, through your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, through the thermic effect of food, creating the calorie deficit for you if you're pushing yourself hard enough in your training. So you will eat at maintenance, but then some days you will end up in a calorie deficit. That's when you lose body fat. Other days you might be actually around maintenance, and that's going to support the muscle growth, and that's how you achieve body recomposition, which is losing body fat, building muscle at the same time. And that's what you need to go through if you are skinny fat. Now, back to the calorie deficit stuff, right? If you are in a calorie deficit, that is a stress on the body. So you have to be mindful of that when it comes to your training and your activity in general, because if you then go creating a calorie deficit, if it's an aggressive deficit, and then you add cardio on top of that, that's a massive stress on the body. And then you're also weight training, that's another stress on the body. If you're stressed with your everyday life, that potentially will be too much for you. Maybe not in the first week or two, but after a while you are going to burn out from that, and it's not going to end in very good results. Body can only handle so much at a time. That's not to say there isn't a time and place for cardio when you're in a calorie deficit, but you have to be mindful of these things. Another thing as well is cardio makes some people a lot hungrier, so it might make it harder to stick to your calorie needs if that is you and you have trouble managing your hunger. And something else you have to consider is that cardio is technically exercise, right? And when it comes to expending energy, exercise only accounts for like 5 to 10% of your total daily energy expenditure. The biggest component is your basal metabolic rate. So that's just the energy that you need to simply survive, for you to breathe, for your heart to beat, for you to sleep, for you to think, all of that. And the second biggest component after that is actually your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, so your NEAT levels. And this is actually very adaptive to your food intake. So for example, when you are eating at maintenance or in a surplus, you will have more energy, so you will naturally be moving around a bit more. It doesn't actually mean going for a walk or doing any kind of planned activity. It's literally how I'm moving my hands now and like getting up to get some water, and all of those little subconscious activities you do throughout the day accounts for your NEAT. And when you go into a deficit, what actually happens is those activities decline. So your NEAT actually decreases to account for the calorie deficit that you've put yourself in. Your body is always trying to keep you the same. So one of the ways to offset this is through aiming for a step target and making sure you are hitting that, especially when you're in a deficit. But I also recommend aiming for one at maintenance because it does form such a big percentage of your total daily energy expenditure. And in my opinion, especially at the start, it is a lot more important and a lot more beneficial than what cardio is. One of the reasons being cardio is a stress on the body, walking is not. So again, it's a way to increase your energy expenditure without increasing that stress on the body, which is going to help you recover better and respond better overall. These are just some things to be mindful of. If you are skinny fat though, you need to eat enough food, you need to prioritize weight training, you need to eat enough protein, and then you need to be patient at the end of the day. You don't need a cut, you don't need a bulk, and you don't really need cardio to start with. Maybe you want to do it because you really enjoy it, or it's important for some kind of sports training you're doing or something like that. That's fine. Just make sure it's not the priority, and make sure it's not the priority subconsciously as well, because you really need to shift your mindset around actually needing it. And if you find yourself skipping weight training because you're too tired or too sore or something like that, but you're getting your cardio in, that's not going to help you. There is definitely a time and place for cardio, don't get me wrong. It is important for your cardiovascular health overall, but if you're just starting out and you're skinny fat, focus on weights first and then worry about cardio in like a year's time. That is all for this video. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to send an email or leave a comment. If you liked it, please like it. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe. And if that's the case, I will see you in the next video.